Hello everyone, welcome back. I hope you have enjoyed your lunch, or if you're still eating, you're enjoying. So now we will be entering panel 3, which is Humanitarian Crises, Persistent Conflict, and the Quest for Restoration. So the moderator for this will be Dr. Rebecca Oljira. So please come and bring your panelists. So I will be moderating the time, and the time given for this panel is 1 hour and 20 minutes. Thank you.
Thank you for the introduction. I believe for some time we have to start. There are so many people out there. We try to wait for those speaking their lunch. For those of you who do not know me, my name is Regasa Oljira, as she stated. I am from Minnesota. I am a Minnesotan. I know Dr. Iba complained about the number of the turnout. Minnesota is an Oromo country, but he was, as I know, was dismayed by the very small turnout of people. This is a concern. It's not only for OSA, but for all of the Oromo discourses in this area, and in many other areas, of course. It's very alarming, this aloofness, this dormancy of the Oromo people is very alarming. So I am a Minnesotan. I've been here for many years. I don't want to tell you the figure. I am a policy analyst at a state government agency here in the state of Minnesota. And I'm also active in the mainstream Oromo politics, in the academia, and the Oromo community. In fact, at the end of this panel, I'm going to go to an Oromo OLF public meeting. So the turnout is going to be dismaying as well. This has become very common. I'm delighted to chair this panel. As you see, the topic is about humanitarian crisis, persistent conflict, and the quest for restoration. I have 3 panelists. The first one came from Oromia, Mr. Tawasgin Gamachu. He is a lawyer by profession. He's an investigator, a human rights defender, and also an investigative reporter. It's an honor to meet this young guy. I've been following his reportings on human rights. He reports on first-hand information, particularly regarding the human rights violations in Oromia Regional State and in Benishangul Gumuz as well. He has been a very credible source in terms of reporting human rights violations. It's great to see him. Please welcome both Tawasgin Gamachu to the podium. The second presenter will be Dr. Desalegn Guyo. Dr. Desalegn Guyo is currently teaches at Young Towns University in Ohio. Dr. Desalegn has earned his PhD from the University in Social Work and Social Development. He also received his MA from the same institution. Dr. Desalegn has research and publications. As you see, one of his publications is showing in this Oromo research areas are focused on child welfare, social welfare, and child development. He is presenting on the state of violently displaced children's welfare in Finfinite surroundings. As you know, there is a big rural-urban migration from different parts of Oromia to Finfinite. Children and the vulnerable population of our society has become so alarming. Just one more thing about Dorarto. I have come to know Dorarto from her publications. She was a very assertive young lady, and one day offline, why are you so assertive, young lady? She was back in Finfinne, and she said, I'm a very autonomous person, and my dad used to call me Ofimbultu, and I call her Ofimbultu. Welcome. Her presentation is, she has coined a very interesting topic. Oromia, we want constitutionalizing the indigenous leadership, meaning constitutionalizing the Gadaa system. How can we legislate the Gadaa tradition or the Gadaa democracy into a modern constitutional order? This is a very interesting topic that may need further research. But for now, we will hear from her what her perspective is. So how to promote the Gadaa to a constitutional order? How do we constitutionalize Gadaa? Now we have an hour and 20 minutes. What we will do is I'll give you 20 minutes to each one of you. You'll use this 60 minutes, and then with the remaining time, we will have questions and discussion as much as our time allows. Thank you. First, Mr. Tamasgen Gamachu will be the first to go.
carraa kana kan argadhu baay'ee na gargaaran galateeffachuun barbaada. Keessattuu OSAadhaa fi OSA akkuma jirutti isaanii fi Dr. Boonii Qabbanee baay'ee galateeffachuun barbaada. Maaliif carraa kana akkan argadhu namoota roolii guddaa taphatan keessaa waan ta'aniif galatoomaa jechuun barbaada. Itti aansee Yaw taayitilii irra dhiyaate baay'een isaanii dhiyaate kun yeroo baay'ee waan qabatamaan irratti iyyaa turree irratti haasa'aa turreedha. Karaa adda addaatiin sooshaal miidiyaan haa ta'u miidiyaa adda addaadhaan waan irratti haasa'aa turamedha. Kanaaf yoo walitti makneetu fayyadamna akka isa laallatutti. Taayitiliin nu filanne persistent conflict in Ethiopia is government instigated violence, not intercommunal jedha. Case study from Oromia. Based on 8 years of documentation of violent conflict in Ethiopia from Matakkal in Benishangul Gumuz to Oromia and Amhara, the paper examined mechanism adopted by the federal government to establish prosperity party dominancy over the country by suppressing opposition in every region of the country, instigating violence through various means such as recruiting force to mimic and impersonate local armed defense, defaming opposition groups to create hatred among local people and attacking their adversary source of support for the purpose of eliminating them. Isolating area of conflict and declaring them insecure zone, those looking and investigation. Amhara regional political leaders began an assault on Gumuz people by publicly issuing a false claim that the people of Gumuz eat human flesh. Former Amhara regional police commissioner speech is available on public media. This claim dehumanized the most marginalized Gumuz people and prepared them for any form of attacking against them. In violation of the constitution, the dual authorized Benishangul Gumuz special forces were suspended. Special forces were and committed mass killing on people based on color of their skin. Note that the total population of Gumuz are more than 250,000 to 350,000. People live in isolated locations in the forests and are at great risk of racial infection, ethnic cleansing. This life with no marriage, they live with no marriage or other social ties to the rest of the community, get no access to basic health service and education, and are vulnerable to genocide and violence. The exact number of Gumuz people killed by violence, starvation, malaria, and other communicable diseases during the last few years of the ongoing war is not exactly unknown. This atrocity committed against the Gumuz people is one of hot areas that needs urgent independent investigation by the international community for humanitarian and human rights to save many innocent lives. Complex strategy used by the Ethiopian government for committing this crime are using existing ethnic and linguistic diversity in the country to divide local populations, using historical contentions between neighbors to turn one against another, conducting targeting character assassination, campaigning against persons and groups designated as a government rival called enemy, employing social media army to disseminate different misinformation and disinformation and confuse the general population. Amazing and arming and supporting one group to instigate attack another group, intentionally typing videos that show one group viciously attacking the other ethnic group, and wide animosity and mistrust among different ethnic or religious groups, release false and fabricated video on different social media and use it for its propaganda purposes, recruiting militia from one group. Those are already developed animosity attack other group. Just okay. Case one case of Wello Oromo Special Zone in Amhara region. This narrative, 70% of population is, or 70% of politician or elitist narrative revolves around claim of land. 70% of Amhara politician narratives revolve around claim of land. This narrative, among them, strong ambition for reclaiming land that was demarcated into neighboring region, mainly Benishangul, Oromia, and Tigray, during boundaries were drawn, creating the current federal system into Amhara region. Claim for the return of land compounded with widespread misinformation and disinformation in the country made the Amhara elites willingly voluntary to implement mischievous purpose of federal government and the Oromia regional government. Thus, Amhara regional government armed or trained militia and organized several attacks on Wello Oromo to take over Wello Special Zone in the name of fighting Oromo Liberation Army. Amhara elites' hunger for fertile land made them suitable for the federal government to use them, propagate its propaganda, and achieve its interest of silencing any opposition group. Amhara forces act attacking and displacing Oromo people from their region. It's not because of love they have for the federal government, but because of hate they had developed against Oromo and Oromo Armed Group or Oromo Liberation Army that they call Shane, and to take the special zone back to the Amhara region. Supported by the federal government, Amhara militia committed war crimes, including mass killing against Humus and Oromo people in their region, using torture, terror, burning of farmer house, and sexual abuse against women, including gang rape. They killed people in vicious manner and filmed to terrify others to leave their villages. The exact number of people killed and displaced internally due to such act is still unknown due to government denial independent investigation into the matter. Most of the IDPs are victims of territorial aggression. Displacement by climate change is second. Case 2, case of East Wallagga, Gadaa, Kiramu, and Jarte district, Oromia region. Attack done in Oromia on innocent people regardless of their sex, age, religious in the past few years has two major objectives. The first one is crime committed by Amhara Armed Group or FANO, whose main objective is to satisfy their land claim ambition, and the second one is carried out by Federal Defense Forces, Federal Police, Oromia Special Forces, which is mainly to eliminate opposition group in Oromia, especially Oromo Liberation Army. For example, on September 50, 2023, the passenger bus en route from Gutin town to Gadaa Ayana was stopped at Dicho Kabale, and 5 ethnic Oromos were killed by Amhara militia armed by the federal government to use them fighting Oromo Liberation Army in the area. The speech made by one of the Federal Defense Forces or general to the public following that attack clearly shows, he said during that speech, the attack was done by Shane. How the government blamed one group for crime committed by other group which it deems meet its interest. On November 29, 2022, the killing of 6 individuals, mainly civil servant in Kiramu town of East Wallaga can also be taken as another illustration. Maybe it is better to mention their name. The name of the victims are Tasfai Ayana High School teacher, Desaleng Gonfa High School teacher, Damte Kefalo Gamada Judge, Kabade Haile Finance Officer, Tariku Getahun Transport Officer, Idosa Tagany Agriculture Officer. Similarly, in the same district of Kiramu, on October 60, 2021, 31 innocent civilians were killed by Amhara militia group. 6 of them from single family. On 21 October 2022, in the Horoguduru Wallaga zone, Amuru district, Migir Kabale, 12 mothers were massacred against by Amhara militias. Among us, Wezero Waitu Charana was killed with 3 months old baby. Lamitu Dafarsha with 2 months old baby, and Awune Gamachu with 2 years old baby. One can find DW or Deutsche Welle Radio report on this incident on October 12, 2050, to Ethiopian calendar. Case 3, case of Metakal area, Benishangul Gumuz. Most of the killing done by the Gumuz people, to Gumuz people was indiscriminately based on the color of their skin. In addition to virtual killing, burning of their house, denying them marketplace for buying basic goods items, preventing them from access to health service and medicine, and making them vulnerable to different diseases, mainly malaria, burning of school, destroying of the livelihood of the whole village are few of main tactics used by Amhara armed group, which is supported by regional and federal government to force them leave the land. Their main motive of doing these things to Gumuz is because of their notion Metakal zone, which is one of the 3 zones of Benishangul Gumuz, has belonged to Amhara and take it to Amhara region.
5 minutes.
Okay. The video copy of the speech by former police of commissioner of Amhara region is available to public domain to confirm this. This virtual killing of helpless, paralyzed ethnic Gumuz woman named Wazero Bake, aged in early 70s, who had been in bed for last 2 years due to chronic disease, in Dibati district, Doban Kabale, Matakal zone, on February 5, 2021 is one of few heinous killing committed by Amhara Special Force. They cut her 2 hands into pieces while she was still alive, tortured her and killed her. One can find AFP report as the time to confirm. Agence France Presse. The killing of 69 innocent Oromo farmers, early children and women in Matakal zone at different locations and on different dates in the last 5 years by Amhara forces, Federal Defense Forces, and Federal Police illustrators, and they orchestrated atrocity committed to civilians. Already I mentioned their names, but our time is not enough to. Conclusion. In conclusion, the major aim of this paper is to expose crimes committed in Ethiopia through deep analysis, offering point of constitutional breakdown and calling upon responsible body to investigate genocide and human rights abuse carried out by federal government in the course of establishing its dominance over all regions. Thank you all. ساعتي كوفي ايش غلطوما.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Mr. Gawachu. I think you're done on time. Next is Dr. Salih Rio. You know how to manage your time. You're a professor.
Okay, good afternoon, everyone. I'll try to make short because this is what you know. I'm trying to tell you with the evidences what is going on about the state of violently displaced children welfare in Finland and its surrounding. What I'm going to talk about is, as a social worker, I'm interested to talk about this area because this is the most vulnerable part of the population, including the women. So I focus on my research area because this is my research area on child protection and child adoption. So when we look at the state of the violently displaced children in Finland and the surrounding, we are talking about what is happening after the displacement. I don't want to talk about the causes because the previous presenters have already discussed what are the causes of the problem, because these are conflict-induced problems that was done by the government. So the previous presenters, especially in the part 2, have presented about how the government used these kinds of conflict and displace the children. So my overview of the presentation, I want to talk about this research design. In the research design, it's purely academic. I don't want to take your time talking about this. Displaced population in Ethiopia. I start with global population about displacement. This is a serious problem in the world now about displacement because of conflict, drought, famine, which is man-made and natural causes of displacement. And then I try to focus on the internally displaced people figures by different sources. So this data came, most of the data came from humanitarian organizations that are providing services in Ethiopia. Some of them are collecting data and regularly reporting using this data and then looking for resources for this vulnerable population. And then I'll try to also about the displaced children in Oromia with figures, and you will see how this displacement affected the population and then going down to the children. What are the problems that these children are facing once they are displaced? Finally, I'll talk about the lesson learned from this process. About the remedy or recommendation, probably you can read about the articles that I produced on OSA's journal. So the first thing, I hope everybody knows what the definition of children is. Different organizations have been defining because for the policy making. So one of the internationally known organization, United Nations Child Rights Convention, defined child in its Article 1, 1989. That was copied by African Child Convention for African Charter for the Right and Welfare of Children in 1990. And they copied the same thing. And then the Ethiopian definition of children. That was taken from the 1960 Civil Code. That was still functional. They didn't change the definition, though they say what is internationally ratified will be accepted by the Constitution. The Constitution lawyers are here, they can explain about that in Article 9, subchapter 4. So that definition of children is talking about children aged below 18. So my focus is about those internally displaced children. And I will start with global displacement. This data came from UNHCR. UNHCR internally displaced persons they define also what internally displaced person is. It's a person or group of persons who have been forced or obliged to flee or to leave their homes or place of habitual residence, in particular as a result of or to avoid the effects of armed conflict, situations of generalized violence, violation of human rights, or natural or human-made disaster, and who have made cross an internationally recognized state border. So this border issue is talking about social structures. When I talk about the internally displaced children, I'm talking about the children who cross certain localities and move to a different place. So when you take the case of Finfinne, most of the children migrated from rural area because of the conflict that has happened in Oromia, in different parts of Oromia, especially the eastern part of Oromia, the western part, and southern part of Oromia. Currently, this case is increasing in the northern part of Oromia, especially in the Shawa area. So every place in Oromia is now in a state of serious crisis or chaos. So that chaos caused for people to be displaced. Most of those people who are displaced are the women and children. Who are the victims of this displacement are the women and the children. That's why I want to focus on these vulnerable children, what it means as exposed to risks, their peers. A child might be subject to deprivation of food, education, parental care, exploitation, abuse, neglect, violence. These are jargons. All of them have lots of things in common, which is creating vulnerability for the children. So the objective of this paper is to examine the educational challenge and opportunity for displaced children in Finland and surrounding. Is there any opportunity? Because I get most of the data from the government system and humanitarian organizations. So this they really create an opportunity for these children who are displaced from their original home and move to a Finland area and its surrounding. To assess displaced children's physical and mental health status and access to the healthcare services. Did these children really get these kinds of services from the government? Because the expectation is the government has to provide these services, or the host community. To explore the social integration and the community support available to displaced children in the city. this is something that we should also, everybody should know about what is going on around Finfinne and the surrounding. The people who are coming from rural Oromia mostly speak Afaan Oromo, the Finfinne and the surrounding, and especially the inner city part speak Amharic, so do they really host them and accept them, and they really give them a place? You heard a lot of stories. I will talk on the later stage. To identify the coping strategy adopted by displaced children. How do these displaced children cope up with the challenge that they're facing in the area of destination? These are the research questions I asked that is linked to the objective. The methods I used, one is a mixed method approach, which is qualitative and quantitative. When you talk about qualitative and quantitative, when you talk about qualitative, when you are asking people the stories, so how they tell these stories in different form, you ask them as a key informant, do observation, a group, focus group, or discussion, all that aspect. That would be, that was implemented. And quantitative, doing a survey, asking questions, having a questionnaire, passing all the research procedure approach, and then having sending questions, asking a list of questions. And I have created about 25 questions for that, and then done an extensive disk review. This is using the data from different organizations. So these data are taken from humanitarian organizations. This is from the government, because these are the organizations that are providing services for when people are displaced. The first organization they use for emergency are these two offices. One is Oromia Water and the Energy Bureau, and because these are children. So I used my connection to get the data, but they were very scared to tell me all this data, but I got most of the data through personal connection. In terms of research ethics, this is something that you can discuss in detail about. Is it really very ethical to solicit data in such way? And the key informant interview, that means those people who are working with children. Case study summaries, videos from major media. I hope most of you have seen the videos that have been going on social medias when kids are talking about what happened to them in their destination, especially kids from Hararge area, Guji, and Wolaga. I'm the one to say East, West, or whatever, but if the children were displaced from all these places, they were telling their experiences in the destination. So these are the most of the data sources, including what I have said earlier. So let's start globally. UNICEF in 2023, the worldwide about the population of children who are displaced. They have a report about 43.3 million children have been displaced as a consequence of conflict and violence at the end of 2020. So this is almost maybe 15 million less than the Oromian population. Some 17.5 million child refugees and asylum from this total 43.3. 17.5 million become refugees and asylum seekers. That means they crossed the boundaries of their country and went to a different place. The remaining are staying in their, so they will become as IDPs, internally displaced, of which 14.2 million refugees under UNHCR mandate and other need in international protection. When they talk about the UNHCR, because I worked briefly for a brief period of time with the UNHCR, if the UNHCR didn't take responsibility, that means you are stateless, nobody is supporting. You don't get all the necessary things like food, clothing, and a basic need. So being registered under UNHCR has an advantage. That's why they put this number as 1.8 million. This is talking about Palestinian children, which is currently on news. An estimated 25.8 million children were displaced within their own country by violence and conflict. Among these, our children are part of this population. Another 3.8 million more children in international displacement of natural disasters. Between 2010 and 2022, the global number of forcefully displaced children, refugees, asylum seekers more than doubled. Was 20 million, now become 43 million. So we are living in a crisis because of conflict, violence. So children are dramatically overrepresented among the world refugees. Children make up less than 1/3 of the global population, but more than 41% of the world's refugees in 2022. According to UNICEF in 2024, the number of out-of-school children in Ethiopia, I'm talking about the total within Ethiopian context, due to these emergencies has spiked from 3.1 million to 3.6 million in just 6 months. From 3.1 million. Million is not a small number. It's a big number of population. These are children whose age are below 18. The worst drought ever. This is about UNICEF's report. The worst drought ever over 4 decades has worsened matters with 24.1 million people affected, including 12 million with. This is what the total number of children who are affected within the country. So they are summarizing, and you see the report from IOM, UNHCR, UN OCHA. Every time they were reporting about this case, what is going on in Ethiopian empire. This is a report from UN OCHA, just a snapshot. In 2022, people displaced in Oromia are 4 million. 1.9 million in a serious shortage of humanitarian crisis and hard to reach by humanitarian organizations. There are 4 million people who are displaced because of conflict, out of which 1.9 are not getting any service from the government or any humanitarian organization because of the nature of the conflicts, because accessibility issue. Of which examples are given here. Bale, Gura, Damole with about 34,000. Orogudru Walaga, over 100,000 people were displaced. In Oromia, around 421,000 people are projected to be affected with 104,000 displaced across Borana, Guji, West Guji, Bale, East Bale, Arsi, West Arsi, East Shah, West Hararge, East Hararge zones. So these numbers are, coming from different organizations report what they are doing, when they are trying to solicit funds for the services. So I look at the data from 2013 to 2023 for 10 years. Just the displacement. Up to 2018, these are the number of people who are internally displaced in the country. But after 2018, the displacement is caused by conflict, violence. Before that, it was natural. Some of them are also conflict-based, but displacement. So these are the numbers that you can see. I don't want to call each number for you. So these are people. The previous one is talking about internally displaced. This one is talking about refugees. That means people who are displaced in other country and migrated to Ethiopia. Look at the burden that this country is holding with the population coming into. These are the number of people who are migrating from Eritrea, Sudan, South Sudan, Somalia. So you can see. And I want to focus on Finfinne. When you look at the number of population, that refugees and asylum seekers who are living in Finfinne, which says Addis Ababa on the map, is 78,000 plus. Plus, you will see what happened to the Oromos who are displaced from their home, original land, and also living in Finfinne and around the Finfinne. These are the spots. It moved, I think on the map you see it moved at least the location of the things are not accurate, but as you move one step down. So this is the data that's coming from IOM from 2018 to 2023, and I give you all by months. The number of populations that are displaced, and this is the number. So just I don't want to take much of your time, just I will simply display for you. And this is what happened in 2021, and they are reporting using a report numbers. This is in 2022. This is in 2023. So having these numbers, these figures, what is the number of children who are displaced from Oromia and living around Finfinne? What are the number of population? Are they really registered? I'm talking about those who are registered, that are documented by these government structures and non-humanitarian organizations. There are people who are not registered are within the government structures. However, they are facing the same problem in the host community. So they are compared to seek, this is the degree of problem in Oromia. People are compared to seek safety in Finfinne. Why people migrate to Finfinne? Why people move to Finfinne? There is relatively an assumption about this is a safe place. The government has a strong control because a strong military apparatus is over there. So people feel it's safe. Some go beyond Finfinne, go some neighboring cities like Adama, Bishoftu, sometimes Ambo, Waliso, Burai. All these areas are areas as host community. So because most of the displaced children came from rural areas where they are deprived of shelter, food, education, health service, the right to safety, their social integration, mental stability are still as jeopardy. The urban culture, the urban environment is not very accommodating for those rural children. The politics is not accommodating and not creating safety for these children. So according to the humanitarian organization assessment report in 2023, an estimated 1.4 million IDP are residing in these areas. 141 camps spread over 11 zones and 96 districts of Oromia, and of which 753 plus thousand population people are displaced in 4 zones of Western Oromia. The data revealed about 230,000 people came only from Horogudru, 282 plus people came displaced from East Wallega. This is the total population. And I would go on about Gucci.
You tell us about this species in
Yeah. Go. Thank you. If I have 3 minutes, I have more time. So the displacement of children in Oromia, from this organization, Oromia witnessed a significant displacement of persons. This is 1.14 million. And this is about households, the number of households that are displaced, and of which half of the population are women and children. In 2021, this is the number. 500,000. So every year it is increasing. I just want to give you a picture that every year it is increasing. So they have all this data. So what is the problem that these children face in the destination? This is a map where these people are originally displaced. The red colors are telling you their place of origin, where these families are. It's about the whole population that is. We're talking about the displacement, but children are really the major victims. So this is a steady area where these people came and settled in starting from 2018. That's what I want to emphasize. And in 2018, these are the number of population that was settled in the Finfinne and the area. These are the number of population that settled in this. Half of this, 19,822, are women and children. out of which children are consisting the largest portion. So this is what they did as a support. They picked out of the half of 19,000. They are talking about this. IOM supported this group. They were demonstrating this as, guinea pigs that they surveyed this population out of this total population of displacement. So the IOM situation talks about each data. So I want to focus on these problems of these displaced children. Displacement and disruption of family lives, the problems they face in the destination. The first thing is displacement causes this disruption, family lives. They lose their family members, could be unaccompanied children, be orphaned. So the loss of properties, disconnection from place of birth, community, witnessing mass arrest and arbitrary detention. This is a major crisis that creates a mental health issue for children. Sexual and gender-based violence leading to human trafficking. One of the major issues that is currently looming in the area is about human trafficking and organ trafficking. Human trafficking and organ trafficking is really a major issue where children are exposed. They were taken to different countries through smuggling. Again, enforced disappearance, kidnapping. Currently, the government is recruiting. Okay. We'll start by saying a few words. Currently, the government is recruiting soldiers from young children. So there are enforced displacement, disappearance, kidnapping of family members, and the children themselves. This is one of the major problems, emotional, all that stuff. I will talk based on the questions. Thank you. These are the lessons structure. Major issue is social structural resources are really disrupted by conflict, by government system. So the government has created these kinds of challenges for the children and created a recipe for all of us to act on. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Guillaume. Next speaker, Gerardo, the floor is yours. 20 minutes.
Thank you very much. This is Director Gadaa. Nice to meet you all. And may I ask you one favor, please? Can you once atoko qeerroo fi qarree hiriyoota koo allabee har'a isin fuuldura dhaabbateef ol kaatanii galata kanaa galchitan barbaada. Achoonis.
Sorry.
Thank you. Thank you. They are our hero, and I'm here because they fought for me. Thank you very much. So let me tell you a story first. In a final way. When I joined the Gadaa movement, I was maybe growing high forces, and I heard about the Bali forest fires, and then at school, Jolene afaan Oromoodhaan dubbata. Jolene mana barumsaatti bosonni baay'ee gubatee jedhan. Baay'ee gubatee jennaan ijoollee Oromoo qabsaa keessa jira. Isaanii guruuf jedhan. Eekamee baay'ee. Mana galii abbaa godhanii maaliif Oromoon gubatee jedhee adeemsudha. Oromoon maaliif gubatee maaf gubatee? And then gave me a bullet. I think Gadaa fakkaata And then lafa kare meetira square facciamo kan kollaa jirti kan namaan barbaadu jirti jedhee sirba. So marginally kabali kan akka saadhaan and then gabachuun addana misaalii barsiisaa godhanii waan Oromoo barbaadu beekaa ta'ee fi barreessee kenna jedhaman akka lolli jedhamu. Everywhere. And then Oromoo waan barbaadu beeksisuu jedhee laftisaa haala meetira Haramo dari hiriyoonni korii kan yookaan yookaan bosona galanii Oromiyaa kabiba waan haasa jedhu pirezenteeshinii. So I'm really happy to tell you the Oromia I want. The Oromia we like fight for. Oromia kabiba and United. I have something to tell you. On behalf of my friends, on behalf of the growing of my generation. So I wish I could summarize it in one slide because let me go to my point and go up see pointing over the body. So Gafin Oromo, the Oromo Leman Gafia Babi Mati, very simple question, same lemon with its own strategies. So I'm not expected to explain this, but we can have different political strategies, but the demand of the Oromo people is well known, clear, the question of self-determination. Malman actually got a Jarufi, the Slam to the Tiller, Kobeafan, Oromo, politically conscious community, constitutionally Oromia, and we have the Oromian region, at least one guy, and Chaka. And Oromo Timati self-determination, peace and stability, democratic, and legislative, political representation, economic development, and blah blah. This is very 101. So, and what are the causes of Oromo suffering? In my life, as I try to read different countries, so different revolutions, I have never heard that Gafa democracy in Chile means but my people complain Gafa like activities tomorrow or maybe formation but Oromo political organizations or institutions that are new, but I don't see Oromo complaining, so why don't we take like a solution from the Gadaa system? So and the second is continuation of imperial form of the state. The present continues in general. The state formation in Ethiopia, imperial system is a protective the problem of so the way out, integration of the Gadaa system into Oromo then how? So you have been studying Gadaa, and I'm maybe the least person from the Oromo scholars in the area, but my basic knowledge, the Gadaa 101. Let me explain how we can get the Oromia we want through the Gadaa system. This slide is from Dr. Gamechu Nagarsa's book, The Sacred Knowledge, Traditions of the Oromo. So this is how the people structure itself before the conquest. So this is the original structure. This Dr. Gamechu studied the Borana, and there is Waka. There is a Mamuda, Shanangayo, Gadaa, Aid, Raid, Shanancha, Warra. This is an institutional structure. My people have actually have still the Borana and Guji practice it pre-conquest. So have this slide on mind, and let me go to the next and my conclusion maybe. And here is what I put my people's question, demand in one slide. I try to study the Guji people, so I use a name from the Guji indigenous system. So I wish you can stop. But may I be there having this slide, please? Okay. Barsiistuuta beekaa waan ta'eef nuuf galcha. Here is the structure of the Gadaa system. We have 5 parties in the Gadaa. And we have Armufa, Robele, Mudana, Halchis, and Alana. These are the 5 parties in the Gadaa system. And we have the yellow part that represents a hope, Muda, and the black slide represents the work. As next one, system, we have the Waka. This is if I read this, I copy from the book. We have Waka, Muda, Gadaa, this is the structure. And then we have this 5 parties. And then what if my people have 2 houses? Like Gadaa Rafdane, Sirna Mudafi, Gadaa Kabane. We are only expected to have 2 houses, house of Muda and a house of Gadaa. Very simple. And then the yellow one, the Muda, let you like qabsoo Oromoo keessatti waan Oromoon rakkate gaaffii Oromoo deebisuuf qabsaa malee sirnatti gaaffiin Oromoo deebisu lafa kaawwachuu dadhabuusaa waan ta'eef, why don't we have the cause, the goal, like constitutionally, why don't we frame our question and I give it to the Muda? And why do Oromo political parties compete and take the power according to the Gadaa system? For example, if OLF agrees and take over the Muda, akkuma jirutti adda bilisummaa Oromoo Muda keenya ta'ee achi booddee dhimmoota daangaa, dhimmoota Oromoo, dhimmoota olaantummaa biyyaa, birmadummaa biyyaa wajjin wal qabaatan haawsi ilaalu ta'uun barbaada jennaan, we are not expected to deal about the causes because haalli yeroo jijjiiramaa deema waan ta'eef sirna sana ijaaraa deema jechuudha. And the house determines one Oromoon barbaadu. And then the Oromo political parties Let us example party. Kafao tokotina dabala. Just give me a single party. Dr. Vinya. Okay, let us have Kafao. Wabao. Okay, let us have two parties, Wabao and Kafao. We have the Muda with interest Oromo Kank Abu, and then Wabao fi Kafao will go many, Wakasa date. Just election. Wakasa date and Sahu, Sriti Hojade, Ilmam Kafao Elatan for next. Wakasa date and Butusana Kesati, Ilmam Gadaa Elatic Abate, Waga Afatama Budina. This is very basic Gadaa 101. The details, and then we'll see Kafao Waga African Body. Kafao Tanse, Parting Cambralla, Wal Gorgomato Rufe, in Nitano, Waga Sadeti Fulce, Waga African Body, Baragada side man and take away, Achi Party love. And then, there are 3. Well, Anafik Adatu Vector and Sadi Waritumsa, Gaboka, Tamabote, the Gadaa sport, Te, Sun established to take Awate, Sabnukuk Awan to Kotumanasaki Sandali, military Toku, 5 political parties, and the upper house, the Muda, and the Gadaa house it Kasitapun Kenya Kawi Tokumana Sanga in the Gucci, which other inventor Abdani, and Yojotan, and Abalu, Gadankyo, Gadanko, Harmove, Roveli, Ilmana Rufa, Ilmana Rufa, Jechadi Mocha. And then after 40 years, political dynamism at Dunya Development of Ara. Of Jalisa, Sirna Dunya Develade, Sirmiga Dakinya Safakabate, Marumo, Kawisi. Trade Amo, Kawisi. I can just for you guys to determine. So, my recommendation one Gadaa, the coffee piece in Idabano, Guji, they have these parties, and then Namnikana, Alalati, Gadati, Alalamnik Alate. They don't have a place. And who different child atu, your son to either kiss up atu, Akastin Tiravan Valley, the Mr. Richard is at Alane, Lamis had Usahim, who different child is out of here, Kissa is out of it, Sirnicha Gafa is out of Sirnicha is at Alanitana, Maja statusless Taj. This is from Gadaa 101 Malka or Monkuni. Ego Salatakai, Similarly, Davis, This is my presentation, and thank you very much. I'm done. Thank you.
Within the 17 minutes, if you have questions, you can bring up your questions. Before that, I was talking to Thomas again. He lost his computer. I think his computer was taken away, but he had so many data to show and to talk about some bogus reportings about the blames against Ola and other Oromos for killings in Tole district, particularly in Gimbi area. Naannoon tokko bakki controversially tokko ture waa'ee dhimma Tole irraa gabaasamaa ture tokko naannoo karaa Gimbii bira magaalaa jirtu mandara tokko yeroo tokko Oromootu nama fixe jedhanii gabaasaa turan. Kanaaf boota masgeen waan kanarraatii daataa walitti qabatee ture abstract isaarraa argeera kompiitara jala fudhatanii jennaan waan sana dhiyeessina fee waan sanarraa riippoortii sobaan toleetti namoota Oromoo yookaan olaatu jara warra kaan jedhanii riippoortii godhanii isa sanarraa waan nu dubbataa. And then you can also direct your questions to either one of the presenters. I would like Mr. Agamachu to add some remarks about the Tole massacre.
Dhimma kana wajjin waan tol qabatee jiru viidiyoon I think kanarratti hin bawootee malee harka koorra jira. Isaanumti miidiyaa isaaniitiin bahanii dhugaa kan dubbataa turanii yoo barbaachisaa ta'e ammayyuu dhageessisuu hin danda'ama daqiiqaa 3-4 kan ta'u waan sana wajjin wal qabatee siluma bakki lama wanti kun lamaan bakki inni itti raawwatee tokkoffaa inni duraa walakkaansaa naannoo Beenishaangul keessa Kamashizoonidha. Walakkaansaa akkuma jedhamee Gimbii jalatti Oromiyaa jala dhugaan lafa jiru taateen gaafasii dhumaatee achirratti ta'e kan raawwate ifatti viidiyoodhaan warra viiktimii dhimma kanarratti warra miidhamne jedhan warra daa'imni jalaa du'eerra warra isaaniirraa kan waraabame waan gaafasii kan raawwate maangoo yaabbadheenu taa'ee ilaalaa ture. Yeroo oraaliidhaan fe'anii fidanii rasaasa hiranii kennanii fi deebam keessaa ba'an maangoo yaabbadheen taa'ee ilaalaa ture. Namni waan sana laate barbaachisaa ta'an ammayyuu dhageessisuu hin danda'ama. Yaadattu gaafa hayiraatti wanta akkasii raawwatu dura makalaakayaan achi ture. Naannoo sa'a 9 makalaakayaan dhiisee beennaan naannoo sa'aatii 10tiin dhufee mandarri sun gubateedha kan jedhamaa ture. Egaa lukaana deemaniyyuu achiin kaampii makalaakayaa guddaa achi jiru sana lukaana deemaniyyuu ba'an yoo jenne makalaakayaadhaaf jarri kun hagam walitti dhiyaatan taa'uyyuuti. Sa'aatii tokko intervaalii sa'aatii tokkoon guutinitti dhufee mandarri sun namni 200 oli dhume jedhame sun kan ajjeefame. Sana booda warri baqatan ba'an taargeetii kan godhame gara ilaalcha uummataa oraanaaf kakaasaa waan jiraniif miidiyaan gurguddoo ta'an dhimmicha sana abbaatti qaban abbaa rukutuu barbaadan irratti xiyyeeffatanii waan godhaa turaniif namni gurratti laateen dhageenyu ta'e malee tokkoon warra miidhamanii intervii kennaa turan. Sa'aatii intervaalii sa'aatii tokkoon guunne jidduutti isaan sun dhufanii walitti nu qabanii walgayiidha jennaan waamamnee baanee walgayii ba'annaan mandarri guutuun ammas ga'u waamamee ba'ee namni 200 daqiiqaa sa'aatii tokkoon guutinitti achitti argamee isaan sun keessaa baanee naa irraa raawwate jedhamee amanuuf loojikaalii mataan isaanii ulfaatanii duraa tokko. Garuu dhugaan isaanis dubbataa turan meeshaa isaan qabatan meeshaan gaafas ittiin rukunnaan kun taasifame akka fuulli isaanii hin argamne fuula isaaniitti marataniitu nu rukutaa turanii. Fuulatti maaliif marannaan barbaachise? Lammaffaa oraaliidhaan konkolaataa oraalii jedhamu yookiin konkolaatuma abbaa fedhe oraanni laga jiru hin qabu konkolaataadhaan hin deemu. Konkolaataan dhufee rasaasa hiraa turanii namootaaf kafarii jilaataa turanii. Ani kana muka maangoo yaabbadhee nu taa'ee ilaalaa ture. Kun afaan nama keenyarraa kan dubbatame tun ta'in afaan warra miidhamne jedhanirraa kan dubbatanidha. Kan nu ficcisiise isaanii, kan nu fixe isaanii. So isaan sana dhugaa dubbachuuf isaan sana duraatti namni mataa dhaate wayin immoo wugii isaa ta'u waan barbaade mataarra kaayyatee dhufe yookiin Oromoo kamiyyoo ta'e ilaalchi inni itti ilaalamu ilaalchuma waan biraadhaan ilaalcha jibbaa waan ta'eef mootummaan humna kanayyuu qopheesseerra jedhanii warra itti yaadaniyyuu kana dhugaa isaa garanatti qaaquu barbaadan miti. Dhuguma lafa jiru dubbatanii jechuudha. Miidhamaa ta'anii waan jiraniif waan sobaniif hin qaban. Kanaaf taateen toleetti ta'ee toleetti tun dhufin ayiraatti isa jalqabame keessattuu immediately paarlaamaa keessatti boo'icha taasifamee miidiyaa guutuu Finfinnee keessa jiru gara miidiyaa 70 wayiitu kan miidiyaa Finfinnee keessa jiru guyyaa sana guutuu yeroo sana daraartuun biyyarra jirtu kanatti fakkaata atuu dhageesseetta Waashintii maal jedhu ishee afuufan kana Waashintii dhamiti nullee guyyaa guutuu FM ajajuun darbinaan Finfinnee keessatti sana kan dhagaamaa oole. Miidiyaan guutuu sana kan haasa'aa ture. Paarlaamaa keessatti kan booyamaa ture sana. itti yaadame ta'uusaa akkuma gaafa namoonni barattoonni Dambidollootti barattoonni durbaa butaman ijoolleen barattootaa butaman jedhaman gadi bahee nugusuun ture yeroo sana communication irra kan jiru namoota 26tu butame 26 keessaatti 24 gadhiisifneerra guyyaa lammaffaatti muummeen ministeeraa gadi ba'anii namoota kana butan eenyu akka ta'an waan hin bariiniif beekuu waan hin danda'aminiif bakkaa bakkatti waan sosocho'aniif eenyummaa isaaniif bakka buutee isaanii dadhabne arguu dhabne kana isinitti gabaabsuuf dheengadda butiitii naannoo nama barattoota naannoo Amaaraa irraa gara Oromiyaatti galaa turan nama 160 barattoota qofa nama 160 baasiif otuu Oromiyaa keessaa dhufutee illee odeeffannoon Oromiyaa keessaa kennamaa jira Amaaraa irraa dhufaa jiru dhufanii laga Abbayyaa ce'anii Gwaasiyoonitti ol darbanii darba gurraachaan nagaan baasii barattoota qabu qofa butanii laga kaayaniidha miidiyaadhaan iyyisiisuu jalqaban diraamaan akkas ta'an amma biyya keessattuu waan ta'aa jiru hin jiru isa kana namni hubachuu fakkeenya tokko qofaan kaaya mucaan tokko Matakkallirraati anaaf inni shinaashaadha ofiisaa anaaf garuu aatisaa fira Oromoodha aatisaa mucaan kun dhufee halkan fee dhufaniitu Gwaasiyoon bulan mana siree qabatan keessaati halkan sa'aatii 5 dhufanii hin fattashinaa sireedhan gadi ba'an shufeeriidhaaf raddaatti mucaa kana walitti qabatan gadi ba'an mucaan inni keessaa tokko warqee kaayateetu warqee miliyoona 2 kontirbaandii hin argamnetti kophee guddaa kaayateetu achi keessa kaayatee deema. Inni warqeen irraa fudhatu deemu irratti barreeffamee fiigee rukutan lafa buusan. Erga jiisanii booda achumatti dhiisan sokkan. Magaala keessaa hoteelaa baasan. Shufeerii raddaatiin laga dhaqanii kaayan. Aggatamanii jedhamanii haasa'ame. Sana booda maatiin birrii 250,250 fidee baasuu jedhame. Mucaan kana duu inni Finfinnee taa'ee firrii dhageessuun bilbileetu mucaan achitti du'eera jedhanitti dhaqaa fuudhaadhee maatiitti biyyatti bilbile. Maatiin reeffa fudhannaa dhufu odeeffannoo kana eessaa argattanii ani. Mucaa Sintaayyoo jedhamutu nutti himee jedhanii haasa'an. Sintaayyoon bakka jiruuti humna xiqqaan barbaadamee qabamee ji'a 2 poolis xaabiyaa taa'e. Maali jennaan ragaadhaaf barbaadne. Keezii isaanitti qabatee ture. Maal ragaadhaaf barbaaddan maal gootu ture ragaa dhootee maaf hidhama jennaan oo deemee lafatti arginee finnu hin qabnu. Booda dubbicha naa qulqullaa'u amma jarrisuun waan jedhaman kaffalan ba'anitti mucaa inni kun hidhamee taa'e. Odeeffannoo sana baasaa jedhamee sodaatameeti. Bilbilee reeffa fuudhaadhee maatiitti waan himeef jechuudha. Kanaaf wantoonni akkasii kanaaf kana fakkaatan ifatti kan waan kan hojjetaa jiramu ifatti ba'ee dur dhoskaa fakkaata amma garuu waan mul'atuun hojjetaa kan jiru sirnichumatu kana uumaa jira namni akkasitti hubachuu qaba jechuun barbaada galatooma.
Thank you. Basically, he was talking about the first-hand information about how the government incites violence and blames on the Oromo Liberation Army or indigenous Oromo people as if they were the culprits of such crimes. But actually, it's the government that's perpetrating this kind of inter-ethnic violence. Fayyada bitootiin gaaffii biraa qabaatanii ammas discretionii gootinii adda daraartu hanga tokko gaafadhaatiin. You asserted that we can assign Gadaa grades to political parties. Gadaa system in essence assigns this Gadaa grades, the 5 Gadaa grades based on age group, which is one-dimensional, it cannot be recycled. If we put those political parties in such Gadaa grades, they're going to come back. Doesn't it contradict what Gadaa essentially stands for? This is my question. Sorry, I took my.
Would you further me the last statement?
How do I mean if you assign Gadaa grades to political parties? Let's say OLF rules for 40 years, then OFC comes for 40 years, then OLF comes back for another 40 years. That is not what Gadaa is essentially for. Gadaa assigns Gadaa grades to individual Oromos from age 1 to 40. And then the person who take that Gadaa grade will not come back.
Oh.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. In the Gadaa system, we do have 2 grades, the age grade and the generation grade. That's why I choose the Guji Gadaa because it merges both the generation and age grades. But my paper focused on this. I took the 2
Gadaa social bases, the Borana and the Guji Gadaa. So the Guji has this generational structure. So the Boranas majorly like focus on the age grade. So age sets just asmaro, but age generation like for the Gujis. Actually, I'm a PhD 30-year student. I didn't done it yet. Still studying, but it has a generation. So we have this grade, the age grade and the generational grade. So having the political parties, let me explain it in my language, maybe that's better. Sure. Sirrachi, fakkeenyaaf harmuuf amma roobalee keessa jirra sirna Gujii kan jechaadha. Barreen gadaan gadaa harmuufaa ture. Gadaan harmuufaa waggaa 40 duras it was a trouble to jira ture. Rakkoo qabdii gadaan gadaa harmuufaa jedhama. So harmuufa keessatti there are 3 clans Uragaa, Maatii, Hokkuu isaan sadeenuu harmuufa keessa jiru. At the same time, we are in the Gadaa, in the Gadaa Robalee keessa jirra amma engadda sa kennin fudhannee jira. Isa keessas Uragaa Maatii Hokkuu jiru. Let us take the contemporary politics. Amma irra kaanee kaafaa'uun Gadaa kaafaa'uuti haa jennu. The age grade mucaan koo mi'aanii bara kaafaa'u dhalatee taanaanii Gadaa kaafaa'u keessa dhalattee waggaa 40 booddee gadaa ishee ta'aa jechuudha. Warra generationii sanaatu eejii fi generationiidhaan wal ijaaree dhufa achi keessaa hooggansa filatanii. Waggaa tana 40 isa jalqabaa kanarratti garuu warra amma jiran kana miseensota generationii amma sirnicha establish godhatutu jira. Ilmaan isaan horatan immoo waggaa 40 booddee ijoollee isin ilmaan eenyuuti yoo jettee gaafatte ilmaan kaafaa'ooti. Waggaa 80 booddee immoo yoo gaafatte ilmaan kaafaa'ooti jedhanii sitti himu. Baay'ee rutiinii hawaasicha keessa gaafa deemamu jechuudha. Achiisa keessatti ijaara. Waggaa 40 kana ijoollee dhalatan hunda isaanii fudhatee gadaan gadaa hawaasichaati. Age gradeedhaanii walii kennaa tokko amma 8 jechaa immoo the age set isaan walimmoo fudhachaa train gochaa mi'a waggaa 40 booddee gadaan ishee gadaa kaafaa'ooti gosti ishee maal jedhamu warra sayyoowwan akkasitti fakkaatan baay'ee sayyoodha jetti balbala ishee akkasitti himachaa mi'aati eenyu jette gadaan kee gadaa kam abalu balballi kee kam akkas jedhamte political and societal akkaataan inni itti hawaasa isaa ijaare powering kan paartii miti kan hawaasa gadaa sanatti amane keessa jiru. Oromiyaa guutuu isheetu kaafaa'u keessatti ijaarama. Amma achi waggaa sattaan immoo ilmaan bara gadaa sattaan paabaa'oo jennee afran sattaan. Bara sana warra dhalatan gadaa isaanii akkasii jedhamee himama. Generation isumatu guddatee gadaa isaa eeggatee of keessaa hooggansa jalaa biqilchaa deema. The generation set. The age set hiriyaasa jedhuun immoo social routine isaanii gaggeeffatu. I think this is my basic understanding of Gadaa. Take care.
I hope we're full that we request further research. Please ask two questions from the audience. Luma.
Oh.
Waan tokko inni keenya kan baruun nurra jiru gadaan inni teelana kana utuu caccabee nu jalaan badiin baay'ee isaa Oromoon nuti maal akka ture dhumarratti utuu hin caccabiin diinnis hin balleessiin maal akka ture hamma beeknutti baay'ee kompleksiidha siistamiin sun ture. Garuu siistamiin fedhe kompleksii ta'e hin dhalatu. So assumption keenya dur utuu baay'ee kompleksii ta'an deemiin simple societal organization ittiin uf bushuudhaaf kan inni uummateedha. Irraa jalaan yeroo deemu guddachaa bal'achaa kompleksii ta'aa dhufee jechaadha. So sana irraanfachuun nurra hin jiru. Amma yaanni shan nu hirte kuni akkamitti goonee isa baay'ee kompleksii ta'e sanatti deebi'uu dandeenya. Inni rakkina amma qabdu kanas nu hiikuu danda'a kan jedhudha. Ani karaa koo hin danda'an jedha. Garuu yoo isatti deebinee dhumarratti isa caccabe sana akka isaatti deebisnee uumuuf hin dandeenyu. Marri jijjiirameera, waan baay'een jijjiirameera. Hanuma isa fakkaatu isaa fi ijaarsa sana kan fudhatee rakkina amma qabnu kan hiikuu danda'u gara fuulduraattis nu gargaaruu danda'u itti deebinaa jechuudha isarratti walii galee kaan konseptiin sun akka yaadaatti exactly akka isheen nu dhiyeessiteetti yoo ta'uu baatellee irraa jalaan ijaaramaa deemee rakkina keenya kan hiiku hundumaa immoo kan involve godhu participation saba Oromoo dhiiraaf dubartii hundumaa kan involve godhu uummachuun hin danda'ama jechaadha. So that's why I like the idea, but how that could be done and how this can be developed and into a dynamic organization that can address social political issues and serve the society, I think is very essential. Of course, somewhere around kanatti immediate concern fi challenge guddaa waan qabnuu fi systemii akkamii systemii gadaa akkamii deebisnee ijaarranne kan jedhu sanatti fookasiin hin jiru. Warra akka daraartuudha warri looyerii ta'an garuu history sana qorachuudhaan generation kanaaf generation dhufanitti kan gargaaruu danda'u yaada isaa utuu lafa kaa'anii yeroo dandeettiin isaa politikaa dandeettiin isaa yeroo argameenu akkuma itti bahuu dandeenyu maaliif kan ijaarrachuun rakkisaa ta'a. Namni immoo isa sana gara caalaa gara sanaatti deemuu dhiisee moor gadaa wajjin waliin fakkaannetti hidhamee hafuu danda'a. Kanaaf irratti itti qophaa'uun utuma isa kaanitti qabsoo qabaa jiranii chaalenjii sammuu ta'e itti qabsoo utuu qabaa jirru isa sana immoo itti qophaa'uun barbaachisaadha. Itti fufee atisii wanti keenya I think irratti hojjechuun barbaachisaadha jechuudhaaf hin jedhamu malee gaaffiis miti. Thank you.
Dr. Benyaaf naa kennee dura. Please, Doctor.
Galatoomaa baay'een jaalladhe presentation keessanii. I really enjoyed it. First waa'ee gadaa irratti the concept of self-determination ofii keenyaan keenyaan gara keenyatti gara mootootti deemnaadha. So Gadaa should be the way forward. So galatoomii. Achi darbee gaaffii inni qabu waa'ee violence biyya sana keessatti ta'aa jiru. You mentioned ani yaaddoon kooyyuu my concern, my deep concern, violence is contagious. It has been and it's going to be affecting us. So the case of Benishangul Gumuz, I heard that news, what you just mentioned. It was horrible. And then when they claimed that they are killing them and acting that they were proud of killing innocent person, I heard that from their media. And so I was very much concerned how it impacted the Gumuz people by themselves. how they have been reacting internally or externally. That's also my concern. If you can share with us, that's really interesting. To Dr. Guyo, interesting. One of the human rights activists who are against recruiting children into military is that when children are exposed to violence at early age, they will normalize it. Okay, so they will act as if war, violence is just normal. So, do you have any observation on that regard? Thank you.
Regarding the human rights report, Jocelyn can use other media platforms to report more on what happened. I would like Doratu to briefly comment on Professor Guluma's comment and Dr. Benya's comment also, and then we will conclude.
Thank you very much. I forgot just Nadaram Feditun Tani slide Tikana Chuman Sunida Belufe any. Gafisa Dr. Inyusanka Sanifi. I have this on my mind. Kun paperwork you could data to be when to answer papering kun presentation is a summary of like a huge paper. So the indigenous Gadaa second house you go native of Nasa Jaduda original paper Kanjuru, Kunigaru, Sirna Sana Kesa Warabne, Hala Amarako Moromian Kesa Jurtufi, my Tutubani Kasumere, Hali Letoni Kenya for a Montijo, so that Sajate, I think that's the best option for you guys, Jari. So, stage to address is an Amadupane. Generation actually have an amount of our is Garagar Denya. So and recommend to go do in Akakana, way out in Dura Lafeta to Redrata, Achiti Bodegaru, Rako Oromo Furud Afi, when demand Rakota and Oto Maria Tante, Council of Elders established Gotani, Yadanaka Kana generation Kanaradu. Guddistanii isa Oromoof taphatan kana hojii oolchitanii jechuun barbaada. And nice to meet you all. Thank you. I think address godinatti fakkaata. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you, Dr. Benya, for asking. Yeah, children are, the futures of any society. If you do properly socialize children, you get the next generation. So what Daratu is talking about, Gadaa, is about the children which I was discussing. If we miss our children early, we are going to miss the next steps. So I was talking about, I wrote an article about politics, fear, and hate, which is really playing a great role in creating violence and the cycle of violence. So the children who are recruited at early age, child soldiers, are most of them coming to the power. Then they continue what they were being trained for or re-socialized for. We call it in sociology re-socialization, because that is how the military doing. So they practice the violence and continue within that. A good example is the current Prime Minister of Ethiopia, who was a street child, now becoming prime minister. And I have an evidence, I can talk anyway. So I will stop here because he grew up in a violent environment. He considered violence is a normal way of life and a normal way of leading. That's why we are experiencing all this displacement or this crisis and chaos across the empire in Oromia. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I apologize for taking your time. With this, we will conclude this panel. Thank you, the audience. We'll see you tomorrow again. I go to OLF public meeting. I have also another obligation over there. I'll see you tomorrow. Thanks.
So thank you all for coming. That concludes day one of the 2024 Oromo Studies Association Annual Conference. We hope to see you all and much more at 9 a.m. sharp tomorrow. Thank you.